25/8 is in the business of time. We help leaders of small and medium-sized businesses work smarter, not harder, so they feel like they have an extra hour in the day and day in the week. Go from don't know what I don't know to I can't miss this show, as we talk proven strategies, practical tips and insider insights from a diverse range of industry leaders. Make time to grow your capabilities and confidence with 25/8. This week I was going to talk about why we do pitch training. What's that got to do with strategy and being strategic? The reason I am talking about that this week is because I've just finished the last group coaching session of the ICN Industry Growth Business Accelerator. And in that program, essentially, we take people through a strategic cycle that helps them to diagnose where they're at, benchmark it, set a goal, and then create a really bespoke, truly bespoke growth strategy and plan for them to implement, whether that's into a new or an existing market. They really get to see the opportunity that they have based on the value that they provide. And we help them zoom out and then zoom in so that on completion, they're able to pitch, they're able to get across their message about what they do, what value they provide, and then translate that into a plan of action. And so I thought it would be really useful for you to understand that process too, because regardless of what stage of growth we're at in our business, being able to pitch your business is probably one of the most important things that you're able to do. And the reason being is that your pitch essentially will help your audience understand the value that you provide. So if you don't understand that, to such a degree that you can succinctly communicate that in a way that anyone can understand, then it's going to be hard for your audience to take action. And so if we're in the early stages of business, so if it is that we are trying to find our product market fit, so it might be that we're saying, we've got this idea, this concept, and our job is to try very quickly to see that demand. And so going through the process of pitching through the 25/8 6 pillars of pitching framework, we can prove that demand exists, that we're solving a real problem for real people because we've done the work. We've demonstrated that. And even if it is that we don't have any customers yet, in order for us to pitch that, we have to demonstrate that there is a demand and in some way. And we teach you how to do that if you're really, really early, if you're at that concept stage. But in most part, when you're just starting out, developing your pitch is a really great way for you to have the structure in place that enables you to prove your concept, your idea is feasible, is viable, that demand exists, that your solution will work, that people are interested, that they're engaged, that you're not just starting from zero, unless we are pitching just an idea, just a concept, but we have some kind of momentum, even if it's in somewhere else, so that we can prove that this, whoever the audience is, they should back you, should do what you're asking them to do, whether that's become a customer or give you some money or vote for you, whatever that might be. Our pitch, the way we present our business, is fundamental to the different stages. So at that early stage, it's all about product market fit. In the next stage, once we've found our fit in the market, our product market fit in the market, I should say, then it's all about stabilizing sales. And so the depth of understanding that we have about our customers needs to be enough that we can get that messaging right. And often in our experience, it is the messaging that will make or break the next stage. If you don't have the right messaging, you don't have the right pitch, then it is essentially that's what's causing your instability in your sales pipeline. It's essentially that's what's caused you not to progress as quickly as you would like. Getting a great pitch, a great message, understanding who your customers are, who's going to value you, who's going to say yes straight away, that's key to building stability in your pipeline once you've found product market fit. Because, essentially, we're asking someone to believe in us and buy into it. You're demonstrating your purpose, the transformation or the change that you create through your business. And so that's what they're buying. They're buying, that transformation, that change. And so you need to understand them. You need to be human-centered. You've considered them. You've considered their challenges. You considered their situation. And then what you're presenting as a solution will help them overcome those challenges so that their lives are better. And these are the benefits to them. And they can picture this. They can picture the benefits. You're showing rather than telling why you should be the one to trust to do this, to provide this solution for them. And that's the pitch. At the end, our 6 pillars of pitching framework is the call to action. And this can be a gentle nudge, a real necessity to say, here's the next action, take this action next. Sometimes we need a little prompt to do that. And it's not salesy in a way. There's definitely a lot of salesy ways to do that. You can give people the options, if this feels right to you, take this next step. So you don't, if that feels more comfortable to you, then that's the call to action. So it doesn't have to feel salesy in that process. And really the pitch as well, and in this framework, is a way for you to communicate your value without you feeling like you're trying to persuade someone that they need something that you don't know whether they need or not. You're presenting quite simply the value that you provide to a certain type of person or situation, and how you can make that better. And then are they ready to do that now, or will they do that in the future? And so that's why the pitch that framework is really quite key in that building that sales pipeline. But then even once we're successful, once we have, a really great business and it's got a stable sales pipeline, that's not to say that having your pitch and going through pitch training isn't relevant. We see at this stage, then you might send your sales leaders through pitch training so that they can basically learn the framework, learn the process. So on the fly, they're able to adapt that to the different audiences that they might come across, because that's obviously the challenge when we start to be more successful. We're expanding into new markets, or we're expanding into existing markets, but we're increasing the number or the types of people that we might sell to. So our pitch needs to change too. Our messaging needs to change. And so that's why pitch training at that level too is really important, and important that everyone essentially is across that. Everyone in the organization is able to pitch for you. So from the receptionist to, if you've got a physical building, to the CEO, you want anyone in your business to be able to really succinctly communicate the value of your business and who you serve, so that helps spread the word, spreads awareness. So it's still important there. And then if it is that we're investing our success, our profit, the profit that we've built through the creation of this successful business into, we might expand into a new market overseas, or it might be that we develop new products or service offerings, or what we're doing is we're trying to grow the business even further, and we're investing in that. We're investing our profits into that growth. Being able to pitch is really important then, essentially. If it is that we've got a new product to market, it's really like starting from scratch. You've got to build a pitch around this new product to a new audience, or the same audience as before. You've got to refine that. And then if it is that we're going to a new country, we're exporting overseas, the nuances in that market mean that if we went with the same pitch that we have in our own market, then often that leads to a discord between the audience over there and, who's this business coming in. So you need to tailor that. And then really once we've expanded as much as we can, and we're creating this business that leaves a legacy, we're at resource maturity, we need to stay competitive. We need to make sure that no one's going to come into our market and take it away from us. And so going through this process again ensures that we are keeping our eye on the market and we understand how we might adapt what it is that we say to our audiences over time. So it's a dynamic process. And when I say pitch, there's a lot more to it than just the storytelling element of it. So essentially, we teach you how to tell the story of your business through the pitch training framework. But before then, and in the full program and in most of our programs, we extensively work with you to zoom out and then zoom in to understand what your business stands for and the non-negotiables, what it is that your customers will see as the most valuable aspect to what you provide compared to the alternatives. And it's not always competitors, it might be an alternative to doing what you're suggesting. And so really the process isn't about putting together a good story, although that really does help. At the end of it, the process is doing that thinking work, is understanding where you're at now. What are your gaps? What is it that you know and do? And what is it that you know and do about your business? How can you understand a lot more if it is that you're entering into a new market? What's your vision for that market? What's your goal? Does that still align? You've got to review all of your strategic elements, essentially, of the business, your business strategy in that situation. And I'm not suggesting that you spend hours and hours on a strategic process. In theory, whilst our program is over a certain amount of weeks in total, if you intensively did this, you'd be able to do it in a couple of days. And you build this cycle, this process of thinking of planning, of understanding into how you work on your business. Because that's really what we're doing, working on our business rather than just in it. So whilst at the start it might feel like you're doing training to help you tell a story, really, essentially what we're doing through our pitch training is creating this strategic agility, this strategic cycle, this mindset that you will have with you as a business leader throughout your journey, through the different stages of growth, and those principles that you have through this process of adaptability ensure that you remain relevant and you can reach the next stage. And so that's why our pitch training program has been so successful, and why I suppose it can't compare to other pitch training programs out there. Certainly if you just took the storytelling element, the storytelling framework, we might compare, but it's the deep work that we do, or we get you to do, that is really valuable. Depending on the program that you do with us, you'll either do that work completely on your own, or you'll get support from others, from coaches, from peers, from mentors that help you really get the best outcome for that process. And then again, depending on the program that you do, that pitch turns into a plan. How do we now turn our pitch into more profit? What do we do to take this pitch into and build out a growth strategy, a growth plan for our business? And that's what we help businesses to do too, is translate that now into a really tight focus on what they can do, what they should focus on to really help them then put what they've learned into action. And I really love the quote. It says, "Wisdom is knowing who to be and what to do in any given situation. Virtue is acting on that wisdom." So we help you build that wisdom. We help you build a mindset to gain that wisdom continuously. And then we help you build the practices that help you put that into practice. And that's why we have pitch training as part of our offering. Thanks for listening to Make Time, a business podcast by 25/8. If you like the show, please take a moment to write a review and feedback on what you'd like to hear next. If you never want to miss an episode, hit subscribe or follow on your favourite listening channel. If you want to get even smarter, join our newsletter, community, or take one of our programs. Links down below. See you next time.